Hey there everybody, I'm Matt Gary, and on this episode of Coding with the Force, I'm going to show you how to make custom welcome and password reset emails for your Salesforce communities. Alright guys, so as always, before I get into how to do this, I want to explain why you would ever care to do this. And you're probably here because you have a reason, but that's similar to these. But let me tell you the main ones. So the main reason that you would want to create these custom ones is because if you didn't know, the out-of-the-box templates are for password resets and welcome emails are not really ideal. They're just text templates. So as you can see here, this is the one that is pre-built for us by Salesforce. It's just a really simple text template. And while you can, customize this to an extent, you can't customize it very much. So that's one of the reasons you would want to customize these password reset emails or customize the welcome emails in Salesforce. They just kind of, the out-of-the-box ones kind of suck. And the stuff, building a completely custom one is a bit confusing because the documentation, while it's there, doesn't really guide you through it, and is a bit tough to understand for this particular use case. So the other reason that you might want these custom templates is because say for instance, one group, you have several groups of users for your community, and one group should receive password reset emails and another group shouldn't. Maybe they sign in through single sign-on and they just want a welcome email or something like that. While you don't necessarily have to be custom in those instances, you probably will need to be to some extent. So let me just get us started here. I'll take you through just the basic community setup, just in case you're not familiar with it. Basically, all you're going to do is click New Community. It's going to load for a second. You're going to choose a template. I'm just going to click this one and get started. And you name your community. I'm going to name it Toit, and you can give it a URL down here. If it's your first community, this part is actually optional, although I would always suggest doing it. So then it's going to create a Lightning community for you, unless you pick the Visualforce tabs and templates variety. And once that's done, I'm going to show you where you kind of determine which emails are set up for your password resets and all that. So as you can see, my new community has been set up, and I am in what is referred to as Workspaces in the community. So lots of you might be familiar with the Builder area, which is where you kind of build your community, but the Workspaces area is where all the administration type stuff is done. So within the Workspaces tab of your community, you'll click Administration, and then it is important, you will not receive these emails unless you activate your community. So, if you haven't, or if you're just following along with this, make sure to just click this button to activate it. And yeah, so you should be good. Make sure that you do. It is important to note that once you click the activate community button, if you do have send welcome email checked here, anybody that is a member of your community that you select here will automatically receive a email. So I guess it is worth saying, don't click that button if you have members in here that you shouldn't be sending emails to yet, or if you haven't unchecked that box. Anyway, that's not what this is about, but I should just put a disclaimer in there so nobody gets in trouble. Here we go. So we've got a community set up. Your community is active, so it's sending emails, and you're not super thrilled with your current welcome new member email, or your forgot password or change password email. So how do we resolve this? it's actually pretty simple, but it's very confusing if you've never done it before. So let's first start by adding a customer profile to our membership. And so let's see, customer plus login user, that'll be alright with me. Actually, let me pick a profile that's not in one of my other communities. So portal manager custom. Okay, cool. So we'll do that. We've added them as a member of our community, and that profile is a member of our community. So once we get our emails set up and how we want them, we'll start being able to see them sent out to people that we community users that we create. So how do we take this ugly text template email and make it something that is much nicer and useful for our end users? It's pretty simple, but very confusing. So you're going to do a new Visualforce template, and for our purposes, we'll just stick it in the unfiled public classic email templates and make it available for use. And you can name this, whatever is relevant to you. So I'm going to say custom pass reset email, and then I'm going to label it Toit, so I know it's for the Toit community. Sorry, I watched too much Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So, and then, you'll give it a subject, type, you joined, and a recipient type, and a related to type. Now, this part is actually important, and there's a lot of conflicting information as to what is, who you're supposed to, or what objects you're supposed to put in these. Some people say you should do user and community. Other people say you should do contact and user, user and network, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. Here is the best one that I have found that has no problems, because there are a lot of undocumented problems with email templates. This is the best setup I've found. You pick contact for your recipient type, and you pick network for your related to type. And here's why. If you pick user for your recipient type, you'll have problems with the name field. I don't know why, but if you use the name merge field for user and email templates, it just doesn't want to work. And as far as what it's related to, I picked the network because the network is actually the community. It's the object for the community in the background. So you can pull in relevant things about the community, like the community name and whatnot, if you want to. These are the best ones in my opinion. Someone else may have found an even better way. I'm not sure, but I've done this a handful of times now, and this one never gives me any problems. So once you save that, you'll be brought to this email template screen, and we're going to want to do quite a bit of stuff here. So what you'll want to do is click the Edit Template button, and it's going to bring you over here to this, this kind of Visualforce template page. And it's important to note that even though this is a Visualforce template, there's really not a lot of out-of-the-box Visualforce stuff that you can do with this. For instance, you can't use page blocks or any of that kind of junk. You have to use divs and regular HTML for the most part. But let me just show you, how this works. So we'll just delete this, and this is the password reset one. So let me show you the most important thing that you'll need to add to this. There is a merge variable that has, should have been reversed there, that is documented but not easily found, I would say, that actually enables you to send out password resets or password reset links. So for instance, you would say, or this is the merge variable. It's a network dot network URL for user emails. That one merge variable is the most important merge variable for all of these email templates, because this is going to give you the password reset link for your community. And when you read what this does, if you Google this, it doesn't really say that. It just says that it's a URL for your community. It doesn't say that it's going to give you a password reset link or anything along those lines, but it does. So this one merge variable is the most important thing that you'll find. A couple other things that are important here are, so say for instance I put like a hi, thanks for joining the toy community, and then you put the merge variable, what would it be, recipient dot name, I think. Hopefully I'm remembering that right. We'll see. And then we'll close our paragraph tag. So where was I here? So if we send this, if we quick save this and go back here, what did I mess up here? Oh, right. Important. And I haven't done this in a bit, so my apologies. This actually has to be, by default, it gives you a plain text email body, which is not helpful. We want an HTML email body to be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve here. And so just replace these two tags here, and then we'll get what we are expecting. There we go. So just to explain real quick what I did for Visual Force tags for messaging, specifically email messaging, you have to declare that you want the body of your Visual Force template to be HTML instead of an email body. I also want to just real quick show you that if we went to the old existing forgot password, and this is what they use in the text templates for the community URL password reset. If you try to save this, it's going to tell you that it doesn't have any idea what the community URL is, and that's because this merge variable doesn't really work for the more custom templates that you use. It's only available for text ones for some reason. So if you tried to use the one that they use in this text template here, it won't work. Okay, so one thing that's very important to know is when you set this up and you put that network merge field variable in there, even if you set up merge fields in here and test this and send it out, it's not gonna work. And that makes this even more confusing, because you've set up this template with this network URL here, and you're thinking, okay, if I set the merge fields for the right kind of contact and put the right community ID in here, then we'll be good to go and we'll get something. But you do not. And that had me for days trying to figure out what was wrong. The only way that you will get that merge field, that network URL for user emails merge field to work, is if you actually attach that to a community. So you have to attach this template to your community. So I'll have to go in here and remove this, and we'll go to the toy custom password reset email. And typically you'll have the same thing for change passwords, unless you customize it too, which you might want to. So we'll just leave it alone. Actually, I'll stick it in here for now. Boom. Okay, so we've got the template in here now. So how do you actually test this email, since the merge field, send, test, and verify merge fields doesn't work? This is also pretty simple, but confusing, especially if you're not a developer like myself. If you're just an admin trying to set this up, it's pretty frustrating. So let me see. I need to deactivate some random community user, so I have some space here. And we'll make a community user. So and if you didn't know, your community users, they have to have an account, so that's important. And man, really wants to coding with the force at gmail.com. Okay, so we've got a contact with a first name, last name, account, and an email, which is all that we need for this. And we'll hit save. And I'm doing this in Classic because this is just Classic is much faster, and because we're using Classic, you have to, at least as of right now, use Classic templates for this. You can do all this in Lightning too, but it's 1,000 times slower. So let's go on ahead and enable our customer user, and let me make sure I get the right member. Customer portal manager custom. That's fine, I think. Customer portal manager custom. There we go. So once I enable this guy, he's going to be a member of my community. And if I go to right, gotta have a unique username and nickname, because it'll cry about that one too. And all right, I'm gonna cut this, deactivate some users, and come right back. Okay guys, so after disabling a bunch of customer community users, I am back, and I've created this contact called Jim Bob Latanya, because we all know one of those. Anyway, not important. What's important is that my contact has an account associated with it and an email, because we need those. One other thing that I just want to point out that I did was I changed the profile membership for my community to be the customer community plus login user, because the other one I selected earlier I didn't have any licenses for, so that's not particularly useful. Anyway, so with that in mind, that I've changed that, we're going to go on ahead and enable our customer user. So once we're here, we need to make sure of a couple things. We need to make sure that, if you've been testing, you have a unique username and you have a unique nickname. And we're going to make sure that our user license and profile are, whatever we've selected for our community membership. And then we will hit save, and now this user here will become a member of our community. Cool. Great. Now, how on earth do we test this Visualforce email template that we can't actually test right now because this doesn't work if you use the send, test, and verify merge fields? Okay, it's pretty simple. You're just going to go to the developer console. And before we get into the one small thing we do in the developer console, let's go back to our user. So on our user, let's grab his ID. If you didn't know, this is the ID of the user up here in the URL. And let's come back over here and do debug, open execute anonymous window, and I've got some junk in here that we're going to get rid of. And then you do system.reset password, and you put single quotes, stick your ID in there, and make its second parameter true. So what this system.reset password does is send out a reset password to your user. This first parameter is an ID, which it takes as an ID, but you have to wrap your ID in single quotes. And then it takes the second parameter of true or false. The true or false determines whether or not an email is actually sent out to that user for the resetting of their password. In our case, we definitely want that to be true because we want to finally test our email. So let's hit execute and see what we get. And I hopefully just got a reset password, which I did, and you'll be able to see I've tested this quite a bit, but I just 0 minutes ago got this email sent out to me, and you can see that this reset password link indeed showed up, and if we click it, you can see we are on a reset password screen. So great, wonderful. We have proven that this works, and also additionally we've proven that our merge field in our Visualforce template recipient name also worked, because good old Jim Bob Latagna's name is in there. So cool. Awesome. So we've got the biggest chunk of this out of the way. All right, so this is how we've covered point 1 so far. Although we don't have a beautiful email, that's not the point of this. We're not building a beautiful email. We're figuring out how we can make a custom email that will do this. We figured out how we create a custom email template that will send out a password reset link. So now that we know that, you can customize this however you want and do whatever it is you might want to do with it. However, what we haven't figured out is, in the instance that you want, group A to receive a password reset email and group B to not receive a password reset email, how do you deal with that? And I'm actually going to go on ahead and end this video here, because the next section of this is going to take at least half an hour, and I don't want this to end up being an hour-long video. So in this one, we've covered, how do you set up password reset email templates in a much more customized email template that you can send out to your users. And in the next video, what we'll go over is how to set up Visualforce components that can render sections dynamically based on who the user is we're sending the email to. And we'll also go over setting up a trigger on the user object to determine whether or not that new community user gets a password reset email or a welcome email or both. So that's it for this one. Make sure to check out the blog post. There's more in-depth information there, as well as the code for you to grab. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.